You know, we hear the words health and safety thrown around all the time, but why do companies really put so much effort into it? Is it just about ticking boxes for the government, or is there something much bigger going on? Well, in this explainer, we're going to dig into the real reasons why managing safety isn't just a good idea. It's absolutely essential. And really, it all boils down to one big question that every single leader has to answer for themselves. Do you see safety as just another cost on the balance sheet, something you have to do, or do you see it as a strategic investment that actually drives the business forward? How you answer that one question changes everything.
Well, the truth is, the answer isn't just one simple thing. It's actually a powerful combination of three distinct but totally interconnected reasons. We're going to break down what I call the three big imperatives: the moral, the legal, and the financial case for safety.
So before we even think about laws or money, let's start at the very beginning, the most fundamental reason of all, the moral one. This is about the simple human idea that every single person has the right to go home from work in the same condition they arrived. It's about our basic responsibility to look out for each other.
You know, our modern safety rules weren't just thought up in a boardroom. They were written in blood, literally. Just think about the Triangle Shirtwaist Fire. 146 people, most of them young immigrant women, died because the factory owners had locked the exit doors. Why? To stop them from taking unauthorized breaks. These weren't just accidents. They were the direct result of putting profit over people, and they forced society to say, enough is enough.
And all of this really crystallizes into this core concept, the duty of care. It's like an unwritten contract that exists between every employer and every employee. You agree to trade your time and your skill for a paycheck. You don't agree to trade your health or your life for it. It's that simple.
Okay, so that brings us to our next imperative. A moral duty is a great start, right? But society figured out pretty fast that just hoping companies would do the right thing, well, that wasn't enough. That moral obligation needed to have teeth. So it was written down into hard and fast laws with very real consequences. On a global scale, you have organizations like the International Labor Organization, the ILO, that set the baseline. Then, countries build on that with their own specific laws. So, in the UK, you've got the Health and Safety at Work Act. In the US, you've got the OSHA Act, which gave us OSHA. And let me be clear, these aren't just gentle suggestions. They are the absolute rule of law.
So what actually happens if you break these rules? Well, the fallout usually comes in two flavors. First, there's criminal liability. That's when the state, the government, comes after you for breaking the law. The goal there is punishment. We're talking massive fines, maybe even prison. Then you have civil liability. That's when the injured person or their family sues the company to get compensation for the harm that was done.
And this is the part that should really get the attention of anyone in a leadership role. That idea of a corporate veil, the legal fiction that the company is totally separate from its people, it will not protect you from gross negligence. If you, as a director or a manager, are found responsible, you can be held personally liable. That means your assets, your reputation, and your freedom are on the line. You can't just hide behind the company logo.
All right, so we have the moral reasons and we have the legal reasons. You should do it and you have to do it. But now we get to the argument that honestly blows most people's minds. This is where we completely flip the script and stop looking at safety as a cost and start seeing it for what it truly is. One of the most powerful engines for financial performance a company has.
To really get the economics of safety, you have to understand something called the iceberg theory. And it's the perfect analogy, because what most people see when they think about the cost of an accident, the stuff that's obvious and covered by insurance, that is just the tiny little tip of the iceberg sticking out of the water.
This chart breaks it all down. Up top, you've got the direct costs. These are the obvious things: the medical bills, the insurance claims, the fines. But the real damage, the part that can sink a business, is all the stuff lurking beneath the surface. These indirect costs can be up to 10 times bigger. We're talking about lost productivity, the time spent on investigations, damaged equipment, a trashed reputation. Insurance doesn't touch any of that. It comes straight out of your profits.
So, what does this all mean? It means preventing accidents isn't a cost center. It's a massive return on investment. The data on this is crystal clear. For every single dollar a company puts into preventing injuries, they get back somewhere between $2 and $6. Tell me another investment that guarantees that kind of return.
And if you want a real-world, no-kidding example of this, we have to talk about the legendary case study of Alcoa. Back in 1987, their new CEO, Paul O'Neill, stood up at his very first meeting with Wall Street investors. And he didn't talk about profit margins, he didn't talk about revenue, he told them his #1 goal was to get to 0 workplace injuries. The investors were stunned. They literally thought he was out of his mind.
But O'Neill's strategy was as simple as it was brilliant. He knew that you can't have a safe workplace without having a well-run workplace. They're the same thing. To be safe, you need discipline, great communication, and rock-solid processes. So he empowered every worker to stop the production line if they saw a problem and demanded that he be notified of every single injury within 24 hours. He used safety as the ultimate yardstick for operational excellence.
And the results? Well, they speak for themselves. During his time as CEO, Alcoa's injury rate plummeted to just 5% of the U.S. average. And its market value? It exploded from $3 billion to $27 billion. He proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that the safest companies are very often the most successful companies. Period.
So, we've got our 3 pillars. It's a moral duty, it's a legal requirement, and it's a brilliant financial strategy. But the story doesn't stop there. The world is changing, and the very definition of what a safe workplace even is, well, that's evolving too.
The new frontier in this world is psychological safety. This has nothing to do with hard hats or safety goggles. This is all about creating a culture where every single person feels safe enough to stick their hand up, to point out a problem, to challenge a decision, or even to admit they made a mistake without any fear that they're going to be shamed, blamed, or punished for it.
And what's eroding that feeling of safety? Well, the data shows it's the classic pressures of modern work. Huge workloads and impossible deadlines are at the top. But look at the others: financial stress, and crucially, a lack of supportive leadership. This really is the next big leadership challenge for every organization out there. And don't for a second think this is just about feelings. It has a direct, and I mean direct, impact on physical safety. One major study found that workers who reported feeling psychologically unsafe had a physical injury rate of 36.5%. Think about it. A worker who's stressed out, distracted, or afraid to speak up is a worker who's at risk of getting hurt.
The good news is technology is starting to give us some amazing new tools. We're moving from a world where we just react to accidents to one where we can actually predict where they're most likely to happen using AI. We have wearable tech that can spot if a worker is fatigued or too close to a hazard. It's all part of this bigger movement towards total worker health, which recognizes that you can't separate safety at work from a person's overall well-being.
So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. Think about the companies you truly admire, the ones that are just world-class at what they do. Now, ask yourself this question. Are they also famous for being incredibly safe places to work? After everything we've just talked about, from the moral case to the financial one, I think you'll find the answer is almost always a resounding yes.